With the last podcast, we were left with a real puzzle as to what justifies our reliance on experience, which seems to be the only basis for any beliefs we have regarding matters of fact. In Section 5, Hume attempts to solve the puzzle, though not by giving us justification for experience. Rather, he's going to tell us how we are able to make judgments about cause and effect without these judgments having any rational basis. He writes, though we should conclude, for instance, as in the foregoing section, that in all reasonings from experience there is a step taken by the mind which is not supported by any argument or process of the understanding, there is no danger that these reasonings, on which almost all knowledge depends, will ever be affected by such a discovery. If the mind is not engaged by argument to make this step, it must be induced by some other principle of equal weight and authority, and that principle will preserve its influence as long as human nature remains the same. So what is this principle? Here's what Hume says. This principle is custom or habit. For wherever the repetition of any particular act or operation produces a propensity to renew the same act or operation without being impelled by any reasoning or process of the understanding, we always say that this propensity is the effect of custom. That is, we don't ever experience cause and effect. If we did, then we should get it the first time we observe it. But after many instances of seeing two events occur at roughly the same time, and no or few instances of the first event occurring without the second, we infer that there must be a causal relation between the two. But this inference is not based on reason or understanding, since the inference isn't based on experience. Hume thus concludes, all belief of matter of fact or real existence is derived merely from some object present to the memory or senses, and a customary conjunction between that and some other object. Or, in other words, having found in many instances that any two kinds of objects, flame and heat, snow and cold, have always been conjoined together, if flame or snow is presented anew to the senses, the mind is carried by custom to expect heat or cold, and to believe that such a quality does exist, and will discover itself upon a nearer approach. But surely the effect of custom isn't as strong as this, Hume imagines an objector to say. Is it really the case that custom or habit impels us to expect effects from certain causes? Here's where Hume brings in the notion of feeling. When I've seen a billiard ball hit another billiard ball and send the second moving across the table, and I've seen it do this many times, I expect to see it happen this next time. When I see the first ball approach the second one, I imagine the first one sending the second one across the table. But more than imagining, I believe that the first ball will send the second one in motion. This belief, however, is based not on some piece of reason, but because when I imagine the first ball sending the second in motion, it feels right to me. Thus, I don't have knowledge of cause and effect, but there is a moment that I say, aha, I get it. Billiard ball 1 sends a billiard ball 2 in motion. And with this aha moment comes a feeling. Thereafter, whenever I see 1 about to hit 2, the feeling within me gives me my belief that 2 will move when 1 hits it. And this explains how we are able to determine cause and effect even if we don't have knowledge of cause and effect.